everyone. I'm here to talk about Agamemnon. He went through a lot, but a lot of it comes from his family history, so I'm going to kind of deep dive into that. First off, he and his brother Menelaus are from the cursed house of Atreus, and all of the cursing actually starts with their great-grandfather, Tantalus, who tried to offer his son Pelops, I think, to the gods. And the gods didn't like that, so they cursed Tantalus to Tartarus, I believe. And he was cursed to reach for low-hanging fruit while standing in a pool of water, and the water would recede anytime he would get close to the fruit, so he can't get what he wants forever. So that's where the cursing of their house starts. Then Pelops was the father of Atreus and Thyestes. Atreus tried to give a golden lamb to his wife Erope, but Erope was sleeping with Atreus' brother Thyestes, and so he found out and then killed Thyestes' sons and cooked them and served them to Thyestes. So that already can make the Furies mad. And so after Thyestes' sons were killed, Thyestes raped his daughter and then had a son named Aegisthus, who was prophesied to kill Atreus for the crime he committed against Thyestes. So Atreus had Agamemnon and Menelaus. During that time where Atreus and Thyestes were having so many issues, Agamemnon and Menelaus took refuge with Tyndareus in Sparta, where they met their wives, Clytemnestra and Helen of Troy, who, whenever, I think it was Paris, not Hector, Paris took Helen to Troy, which started the Trojan War. So Agamemnon rallied the troops as king of Argos and took all the Aegean soldiers to Troy, and the whole Iliad just covers the last year of the Trojan War and all of this beef that Agamemnon and Achilles had with each other. They were stranded on this island, all the Greeks, and it was because Agamemnon had made Artemis upset, saying that he was a better hunter than her, and so she stopped all the wind. And their kind of priest guy, their advisor Calchas, recommended that Agamemnon sacrifice Iphigenia, who was a priestess to Artemis. So Agamemnon sent for Iphigenia, who they told Clytemnestra, Iphigenia's mom, that she was just going to be promised to Achilles and they were going to be wed. Well, no, she was sacrificed to appease Artemis so that they could keep sailing to Troy. So they get to Troy, and Agamemnon, he brings all this disaster on the Greeks by thinking he's so high and mighty. He just thinks a whole lot of himself. And so this time he takes this priestess as his spoils of war, or a priest's daughter, I guess. And the priest was no, I'm gonna go tell Apollo on you. And Agamemnon just kept the girl as his spoils of war. So Apollo then unleashed a plague on the Greeks, and Agamemnon was really stubborn and still wouldn't give the priestess girl back, and so I think that's what made Achilles not fight. No, almost. Calchas says that they have to give the priest's daughter back, and Agamemnon says no because he already had to sacrifice his daughter Iphigenia. So then he kind of reluctantly agrees, but then he goes and takes Briseis, which is Achilles' spoil of war, and that's really disrespectful. It's not okay to step on other men's property like that. And so that's what makes Achilles drop out of the war, but he is needed because he's like best of the Greeks, Aristos Achaion. And so then, this is a lot, sorry. Zeus sends Agamemnon a dream to tell him to push against the Trojans, to keep fighting, but then they realize that they need Achilles back. So Agamemnon offers Achilles all these gifts, but Achilles doesn't go back to fight until his bestie, Patroclus, is tragically killed in Achilles' own armor. So Achilles goes back and he kills Hector. And then Agamemnon is kind of cool, and he assists in Patroclus' funeral. He even participates in his funeral games. This is where we learn that he's a really skilled javelin, and so Achilles awards him a prize, and he doesn't even have to compete because everyone just knows him to be the best javelin thrower. He also killed like hundreds of people in one day in his day of glory. So after the Trojan War, or I guess after Achilles' death, Agamemnon and Menelaus give Odysseus Achilles' armor, and that upsets Ajax because he was supposed to be best of the Greeks after Achilles. And so Ajax just kind of throws this massive fit where he kills all the livestock and stuff, and then is embarrassed and kills himself. But as he's committing suicide, he is further cursing the house of Atreus and cursing Agamemnon and Menelaus. And so just generations of these curses upon Agamemnon lead him to everything that happens in the Odyssey and the Orestia. I don't know if that happens in Orestia. It's mentioned, at least. It's a big part of the plot. Okay, so whenever Agamemnon goes home, he sees that Clytemnestra is actually with, what's his name? It's like Aegisthus or something. We'll say it's Aegisthus, who was the guy who killed Agamemnon's father, Atreus. And so, Aegisthus kills Agamemnon in the oldest versions, but in the newer versions, Clytemnestra kills Agamemnon, and then that's where we get the whole story with Orestes and Electra killing Clytemnestra and avenging their father's death. And Clytemnestra kills Agamemnon because he sacrificed their daughter Iphigenia. And then Clytemnestra enlists the Furies after Orestes kills her and she enlists the Furies, and now we are at this week's topic. Agamemnon was mentioned in the Iliad, the Odyssey, the Orestia, Metamorphoses, Troilus and Cressida. I read Troilus and Cressade, and I don't remember which one comes first. I think it's the Chaucer. And also Ajax by Sophocles. Was his demise tragic or justified? I think it was tragic because he had all of these generations of curses upon him, and he was in a position of power, and he was just trying to be kingly. He was arrogant for sure, but that didn't. I don't know. I don't think his death was justified. So I think his death was tragic. Thanks for listening.